Awesome. All right. Hi, everybody. Haley here, one of the nutrition providers from Vitality Health Matrix. And for today's topic, we're simply just doing another general Q&A for elevated lifestyle strategies for wellness. So I do have a few questions that were either submitted or, just really good questions that have come up in conversations I've had with other clients where I just felt like, what, this is such a good question. And I love, addressing some of these areas that I feel like anybody could benefit from, listening in, hearing these answers, and hopefully it helps the masses here. So I will just go ahead and dive into question number one that I got. And an individual mentioned they were feeling really, really full at breakfast after trying to reach their protein intake goals and, just focus on getting that protein for breakfast. And it just felt really unnatural for them. They were a little concerned. It's like, do I really need to do this? So this is very common, especially when we are new to increasing our protein intake. So I'm going to get a little long-winded here, but I feel like it's really good information to share. Okay, now, first things first, to answer this, we of course don't want you to feel majorly uncomfortably full, right? But when aiming for 30 grams of protein, which is typically a good benchmark to start going after, it's okay to eat until you're fuller than what's your norm. I know psychologically, with the pasta diet culture, this really full feeling can trigger something in our brains and make us feel like, maybe we went too far or maybe already ruined the day by feeling so full. But eating more than you think you need to at breakfast will 100% set your tone for, blood sugar balance, for your cravings, your ability to make smart choices throughout the day, throughout the rest of the day, really, and just help you feel more satiated. And that all stems from getting in that proper nourishment at breakfast time. So, that's kind of the overview, the main answer there. But again, I just want to take a moment to dive deeper and talk more about this. All right. So I find it really interesting that in our culture of skipping breakfast and skipping meals, eating less to lose weight, right? It's truly so backwards to what actually works long term to get the body and the health and the hormone balancing that you want, right? That really that you need, that your body is longing for. Because really, every time I talk to women about this in person, it's so hard at first for me to convince them and reverse the mindset of, if I just don't eat in the morning or put off eating in the morning, then I'm going to eat less throughout the day. And then I'm going to XYZ, right? Lose weight, feel better, get the body I want, etc., etc. And I myself fit into this category too. Years ago, I thought this was the typical equation, right? Eat less, weigh less, feel better. But again, our bodies are so smart, and that's just not the way it goes. So what actually happens is that when you don't eat enough in the morning, when you don't start your day with an incredibly satiating high protein meal and get fuller than what you think you need to get, your eating choices throughout the rest of the day are going to be much, much harder. So, when this happens, you'll have so much less willpower, so many more cravings because your body is hungry and it's trying to feed in order to get that protein. So this is a really cool perspective. So from an herbalism perspective, there are 5 flavors of different foods and herbs because each flavor of food resonates with a different element and organ system of the body. Okay. And protein actually has the flavor of sweet, even though, of course, it's not overtly sweet, but when you break it down, that is the underlying element there. So in Chinese medicine, it's gently sweet and nourishing to the earth element. And so when you don't get enough protein, you're not getting enough nourishment and fuel in your day, and your energy levels drop, especially because you're not eating enough. You will start to crave the flavor sweet. right? Does that make sense? And a lot of the times it's that your body needs more protein, but we end up craving sweets, right? Our brain kind of translates this for us, and we just look for the quickest thing we could grab. Sometimes that's candy or chocolate or ice cream, right? Anything that can really help satisfy that sweet craving that we're getting. But that's because that element is not full. And so, what I see with a lot of women, and what I used to see in myself even, was that when I would try to just prolong eating breakfast or put off eating breakfast altogether in hopes just to eat less throughout the day, right? Less caloric consumption, and somehow have the body I wanted, I would end up eating so many sweets at night. Those cravings don't mean, of course, that we're lazy or that we don't have willpower or we can't stick to something, right? It's just because our bodies are so smart and they're seeking that nourishment it needs, AKA protein. And a lot of us end up beating ourselves up because of that. So, with this, we're screwing, unfortunately, we're messing with our blood sugar from breakfast, and now we're on a roller coaster all day. And by the time nighttime comes around, we're underfueled, we're exhausted because we didn't eat enough, and the body also craves sweets because, when we're exhausted, we also need that quick energy source. So I can always tell, especially when I'm socially spent, all I want to do is eat sweets because my body is like, we literally don't have the energy to keep going. So that's a really big thing to take away from this as well. But I see, this all the time when women don't eat a large protein packed breakfast. There's just no way around those sweet cravings. And sometimes, that could lead to binge eating at night. So go for that, again, that minimum of 30 grams of protein at breakfast. That is the only thing that has really made a huge impact and difference, not only in just like how I go throughout the day, making other food choices, but in my cravings and how I handle my evening time. I'm not ravenous looking for more food. I feel very satiated, fueled, and I'm able to really be like dinner and done and go into the evening feeling balanced and have that 12-hour fasting window until I break my fast at breakfast the next morning, right? So whenever someone asks me, how I got in shape or how I changed my body composition, the first thing I tell them is to eat more than you think you need to, especially at breakfast, right? So eat until you're fuller than what's comfortable for you. And I think a lot of the times, just as I said earlier, that this can really mess with us psychologically. And we're like, oh my gosh, I already ruined the day because I'm so, so full, and we take that and we think, well, we might as well just, continue, this ball of, bad habits that we think we had at breakfast because we're so full and just have it carry on through the rest of the day. But it doesn't have to be like that, right? We don't have to feel guilty. So, it doesn't have to be anything extreme. Or again, it might make you feel uncomfortable at first, but eat more than you think you need to at breakfast because that will 100% set your tone again for blood sugar balance, for your cravings, your ability to make smart choices throughout the rest of the day because you are satiated. And I really want to, drive this home too, that you don't want to get super full on just pancakes or waffles alone. All right. Also be careful of those protein pancakes or those protein waffles, right? We're really looking for whole food nourishment here and ensuring we're getting that whole food protein that offers complete protein, meaning all the 9 essential amino acids that our bodies need. All right. You don't want to just eat a carbohydrate rich meal. You want to eat something that is balanced in protein, fat, and carbs so that you're getting enough protein to trigger to your brain, hey, we're safe, we're satiated. We have enough of those amino acids that we need to perform that cellular turnover, right, to help our brains do all the different functions that amino acids perform in our bodies. So it goes much, much deeper into that, but hopefully that gives you a really good, well-rounded view of why we focus on a protein-forward breakfast as our first meal. It is just so important. I will always, link all of these things together of balancing our hormones, our blood sugar, helping to support a robust metabolism, right? All of these things are just so interconnected and they can really be thrown off or thrown back into balance by our choices that we make in the day. And breakfast is a really big one, and ensuring that protein is there. So be okay with feeling a little overly full. That is completely normal, and your body will adjust and get used to that. Alrighty. Like I said, that was going to be long-winded, but I really wanted to dive deeper into that. All right, so my next question that I got is, I feel like my cortisol, my stress levels are just higher at night. What can I do for that? So a couple different things here. One, having a protein snack before bed will help nourish your adrenals and reestablish a healthy stress response. All right, so doing this helps to prevent that drop in blood sugar overnight, which will improve your sleep so you don't wake up in the middle of the night, therefore improving your sleep hygiene as well. All right, so the thing here is we will not be able to lose weight, really, have that weight loss trajectory that you're looking for if we don't focus on nourishing and reestablishing your adrenals and your hormones first. So again, it's just kind of going back to not only protein intake, but those 3 meals a day, those 3 complete meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is so important. So make that a goal. If that's not currently in your rhythm right now, ensure you're getting that fuel at each meal, so you can be nourishing your body and not, spiking blood sugar, raising cortisol levels, because, that can put your body into a stress response if we are skipping our meals, not getting the nourishment that you need. All right. And lastly, here, establish a solid bedtime and wake time routine. One thing that can be so helpful for circadian rhythm and for balancing our hormones, cortisol included, is having a consistent bedtime and wake time that, could be plus or minus 30 minutes. Say, you typically get to bed by 9 or 9:30 at night, and you give yourself a 7 to 9 hour window, right, to help get that optimal amount of sleep, and you set your wake time, so maybe that's 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m., whatever that could look like. Be consistent with that, even to the best of your ability, even throughout the weekend. And again, that is some of the easiest things that you can do to help establish, just a really solid circadian rhythm. Again, that also helps support cortisol levels. And, I could go much deeper into a bedtime routine as well, but one tip I will give here, which I have gave many other times, is creating a 30-minute boundary before you go to bed of no screen time. So turn off the TV, be done with your phone, put that away, put the tablet down. If you're still working, please be done with that. Allow yourself some wind down time, right? Wind down time, not wind down. Want to be clear on that. But really, we want to allow our bodies to relax and not be stimulated by all of this light that we are constantly surrounded with. Not only the lights from our homes, right, to help us see throughout the house whenever it is nighttime, but the blue light that is emitted from our lamps, from our ceiling lights, even from TVs, our phones, laptops, etc. This blue light actually inhibits melatonin production at nighttime. All right, again, our circadian rhythm is really regulated by light, by sunlight. And, as the sun sets, then that is really a key time to be like, okay, let's mimic what's going on the outside inside our home. and slow down and relax, right? Dim the lights in our home. Maybe swap out LED lights for incandescent lighting, or maybe more warming lights. I know there's like some orange lights or even red lights that you could look into. I love Himalayan sea salt lamps. And so that's pretty much all that is on in our home in the evening, just to really set that calming, relaxing tone. And again, that also helps to establish that really optimal amount of melatonin in our body as well, so we can get to sleep and stay asleep and not feel so stressed, right? So revved up and have that high cortisol at night. So hopefully a couple of those tips are helpful. Alrighty, so another tip here is concerning bowel movements and just struggling with consistent bowel movements. So, in this specific case, whenever this question came up, like, what do I do? We identified that hydration and also caloric consumption were both low. All right, so I believe with this, I once learned that the colon alone needs at least 30 ounces of water a day to stay hydrated. And, on top of course, the rest of our body's needs as well. So harder, lumpy, or infrequent bowel movements can often be because we don't get enough water. We're not even hydrating enough to help with our colon, right? So that's a really good tip there, is just be aware of, okay, how much water am I actually getting? And am I getting even enough to help support my bowel movements, to help support my colon? Also, having more frequent bowel movements will happen with consumption, right? With having enough fuel throughout the day and bulking up our meals. So again, fiber is so important. So more fiber-filled, non-starchy veggies will be, such a good help in increasing that movement. Also, a lot of smaller framed women or women with past histories of, maybe dieting or under eating in volume of food could be affected by this. When we don't have volume in our diet, we won't have as much frequent bowel movements either. So we really want to, again, just focus on those three main meals, ensuring you're getting, yes, enough protein, but protein isn't the only focus there, right? We need to have those non-starchy veggies to focus on that fiber intake, which is so important. And we will never discount complex carbs. They deserve a place on our plate. A lot of us feel we could benefit from them in the morning and or at lunchtime, breakfast or lunch, to of course get that energy that we need in the day too. But if we are under eating or trying to be zero carb, that can also affect our bowel movements. So again, we're just looking for a good balanced plate at each meal so we can see, what does your body love? And this can be really helpful when we lean into our journals and practice better. So we can make connections. We could see all of our meals, even if we're snacking, right? Or anything we're consuming, log that, log your water intake, and also be logging your bowel movements if you're having inconsistencies there. And then we can see, oh, as I increase my water, my bowel movements improved. Or as I added more fiber into my diet, my bowel movements improved, right? And you can learn, make those connections, and move forward with empowerment with that information and be like, okay, I really need to keep that as a strong habit moving forward if I want to continue feeling my best and having those daily bowel movements. All right, so let me see here. I have one more question left, and it was, just a question about the 10-day detox that we try and guide everybody through, because it is just so helpful, and not only loving the body, loving on your liver, but really helping to connect more to your body and understand what your specific body needs and how it responds to certain habits, to certain foods, right? It is just so informative there. So this question was, what type of post-detox symptoms should I look out for? And I can make this a really quick answer. So post-detox, meaning, you finished the the 10 days, now you are into post-detox mode, meaning you are slowly and mindfully reintroducing some foods that you haven't had those past 10 days. So that could be maybe dairy if you kept dairy out the whole 10 days, or maybe you're wanting to start with gluten, or maybe you're wanting to start with caffeine, right? You know, all of these different areas here, we want to do one at a time so we can pick up on any possible post-detox symptoms that are coming up. So what does that look like? One, that could be the scale went up, right? And that's why we really encourage you to use the scale as a tool so we can see what is encouraging consistent weight loss, or when you meet your goal weight, right? You know, you can maintain that and you can see these are the habits that help me maintain this weight. But of course, if the scale is going up post detox, then that could be an inflammatory response to something that you added back in. All right, so that is one symptom, if you will. You could also possibly feel tightness in your hands and joints. Maybe you have a headache. Maybe you're experiencing postnasal drip, or you're having a skin irritation like burning or itchy, or unfortunately, we never wanted to get this way, but sometimes individuals can like break out in hives, and that could be a response. Maybe from adding dairy or gluten back in, just as an example. Maybe you just simply feel bloated. You know, you're having some stomach pain, digestive issues, changes in your bowel movements, right? Even fatigue, you know, just very low energy after a specific meal when you added in a new food that you haven't had in a while. All of these can be very telling. And again, adding these symptoms to your journals can be so helpful too. So your nutritionist can help you identify like, hey, this could be a connection here, and help you move forward in making tweaks, making slight adjustments to help reduce those symptoms, right? Bring those back down, bring that inflammation back down, see how you feel when you take that specific food or drink back out. And then it's an experiment, right? Then we add it back in. And if that symptom comes back, or that weight loss or that scale goes back up, right? Then that could be a sign there that, all right, your body is being triggered by this specific thing. And so we want to, again, move forward in empowerment and say, let's find a better alternative for you and for your body so we can continue keeping that inflammation at bay, so we can continue healing the body, right? And when our body feels safe enough to heal, that's where it can continue doing its amazing work on balancing the body systems that you are here to get balanced, specifically hormones, right? That's a big one there. And weight loss is always going to be a byproduct of healthy, balanced body systems. Okay, so that is really the point in doing the detox as well. Like I said, to get to know your body more, to be in connection with it so you can see, okay, I understand now that some of these old habits that I had that I added back in post detox, they're not really serving me. So, what am I going to do with this information? Am I going to continue to add these habits in, adding insult to injury, right? You know, adding salt to the wound, really, and bringing that inflammation back up in my body? Or, again, I'm going to use this word, am I going to move forward in empowerment and be open to the possibilities of trying new things, right? Exploring new ways to better serve my body, to feel better, right? At the end, yes, weight loss, reaching a healthy weight, that's always a goal, but don't you want to feel good? And don't you just want to feel more energized and feel confident and feel alert and wake up and go to bed knowing that, oh my gosh, I have made so much progress because of these simple little things that I said, yes, I will do, even though maybe it made you uncomfortable, but you know, it was worth it, right? So I always want to explain that too. Like, the detox isn't just to do it and be done. It's to really gain that information and know how to better serve your body and love your body with the daily habits that you're doing. All right, that is going to be all for today. We will wrap it up with that. Again, thank you for joining. Thank you for checking out the recording if you did. And I hope you have an amazing day.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.